Welcome, everyone, to another segment dedicated to the fascinating world of mechanical drawing and drafting. Today, we'll delve into the essence of mechanical drawing, often regarded as the language of engineers. It's a unique form of communication enabling engineers to vividly describe and convey their designs to others. Let's begin by understanding the fundamentals of mechanical drawing. It serves as a means for engineers to articulate their concepts visually. As you can see here, we have an illustrative drawing of a part, showcasing the intricacies of this process. Mechanical drawing encompasses various types, each serving distinct purposes. Here, we have a list of these types, coupled with an example of a machine drawing. Notice how certain dimensions are highlighted. These are reference dimensions crucial not only for the part size but also for quality testing purposes. Moving further, we encounter production drawings. These entail all the essential dimensions necessary for the actual production of a particular component. You'll observe specific symbols like this one denoting surface roughness, crucial in manufacturing processes. Production drawings are closely related to assembly drawings. The distinction lies in highlighting damaged or modified areas critical for the respective assembly process. These drawings comprehensively outline all components related to an assembly, including materials and names essential for an instruction manual. Speaking of instruction manuals, enter the realm of exploded assembly drawings. These visually instruct how various components are assembled, detailing each part's function and intricacies, like the levers demonstrated here. Additionally, there's a specialized kind of assembly drawing, specifically for electrical instruments. Though resembling board drawings, these are tailored to accommodate electrical components, still serving the purpose of assembly guidance. Lastly, we encounter catalog drawings, providing comprehensive details about the dimensions and characteristics of a particular object. Here, you see an object outlined with its corresponding dimensions, allowing for a clear understanding of its size and other defining features. In essence, these drawings form the backbone of engineering communication, showcasing not just designs but also crucial information necessary for production, assembly, and understanding the intricacies of various components and objects. Thank you for exploring the intricacies of mechanical drawing and drafting with me today. Elements of a granite you can see growing on the left side, you can see all its elements. Plus we have growing sheet in branches. We have this sheet retail stand artist's size, these kinds of revision logs. These kinds of data log all the notes. We are mentioning here all this is the part of our branch. Then we have lines. Lines have different types according to requirement. Like it, you can see this is the visible line. If these are the dimension in lines, these are the center lines. So all these are known as lines. Then we have over symbols that you can see. This is the diameter symbol. This is the degree symbol. So we have different sorts of symbols. I'm going to represent the next light. Again we have projections, projects, and also depend upon the requirements, but we are going to represent. Sometimes some and are going to miss. So we represent these dimension according to the different projections. This is the ideal size for our bedroom. Look, you can see it's kind of the deal we should mention here, like drawn by, check by, approved by, name. Material Dalton's Place Finish. It's honor, but with the title for that piece, identification number of part number. The scales would also be mentioned. And of course this projection we will going to discuss about the projection and next slide. This is the ideal size for this huge slate for a knot. we should have the size of that particular sheet. This is the system of blank sheet. Its orientation. And of course about the margin, you can see there is a mention of the margin. This is a respectable CC and B can see here this is for landscape more than this is for portrait here. You can see different types of the line that continues and thick lines are used for visible and visible. Outlines and is and in lines that are used for imaginary lines, dimensions, land projection. These kinds of lines are used for showing breaking the long object. These desk lines that are used or not. Length and it is and this desert is used for it in our outlines and it this damn thing is used for center. The up to these are the important lines, all that are not so important but you should learn about them. Now this is the symbol. As I said, to these kinds of symbol represent the counter board. This is used for support base. This symbol is used for counter think and this is used to outwardly present the depth of something, some character and think. This is used to be present for that reference dimension. This symbol is used to represent dark land. This is used for representative bring surfaces. This is used to represent a region and that this is represent the square's radius, various particle radius. It's pretty clear that no. What is the difference between symbols and their representation? Here you can see this is the control board which is represented by this is. You can see is the diameter is 20 and the depth this 8, the symbol of the now. The next we have gone ghosting, which is to be presented by this. Plus we have the diameter of dark and then we have the end of that. This is the diameter of this line. You can see here this is the sport face which is represented by the similar counterfeit symbols and then adapted by. You can see the difference is Doug. This is a similar, looks very similar. Only the difference is dark. The sport fairs have very less depth. This is also the scammer degree presentation of the barracks. You can see this is by these two lines began to be present at the barracks in case of external and use of these kinds of dumma across C. It is known as a cross corner. This is known as a cross flag, is used in case of negatively presentation. In case of 7 figures you will want to use these kinds of methods. These are some another drawing symbols you can see here. .com symbol. This is a text call out. This is the frame. All these symbols that are related to GD&T. We will discuss them and later in their specialized types of projection. In the projection types we have isometric projection and or graphic projection. In order to graphic projection we represent all the sides, all the views like that you can see here. Front door right side differently. But in case of isometric representation we present all the views in a single. This is known as isometric projection. Here we have the angle is 120 degrees. And this. If we draw an imaginary line then we have a 2-degree Antarctic treaty 30-degree angle area near. So this is known as isometric projection. The second thing is that all the length is and is are different. The length and the autograph vega slightly higher than isometric projections because these are represent. Because land to represent according to the isometric scape. We will discuss about them in specialized erupting quartz. Now we have types of audiographic projection which is very important. Actually we have 4 quadrant here you can see for a second term, but we use only first quadrant and the third quarter according to the rule. We need to rotate back horizontal plane 90 degree and in the clockwise direction, and if we don't get to the first quarter, and if we move what is underplaying in the 90-degree, and likewise then we have this phase and this space. But in case of second quadrant, if we move this horizontal plane 90-degree, and then localize, all these views will overlap each other. So we will not use second quarter, and that is that either in the third Gordon the situation is very similar to first quarter. We rotate this horizontal plane 90-degree in direction of clockwise, like from that to that. That means we will represent, and that includes face. So we will use third quarter in just slightly, not completely opposite to first quarter in case of fourth quarter. If we rotate again this horizontal plane in 90-degree, and then look where action, this will overlap that. And all the views overlap each other, so we will not use less fourth quarter and second quarter. We are using only first quarter and third quarter, which are completely opposite to each other. So that is the reason we are not using full-time second quarter, because in dock the views are overlapping each other, you can see, but is the basic difference between Kurt Angle and Mustang and projection. As I told you, all these projection and died on completely opposite to each other. But the basic system of identification of them is very similar. Very easy leg and third angle prediction. Everything is in right place, like if you talk about the top view, it is at the top. But in case of first standard projection, you will find top view in the bottom. Here you can see the left is on left, with it you can see the left is on right. So in first angle prediction everything is in opposite direction, like you will find top on bottom, bottom on top, right on left, left turn right. For an internal projection you will find everything on place, like left on left, right on left, top on top, and bottom one bottom. So this is a basic identification. So we are going to make the difference between them only by knowing them as the top view are best left or right. Now deserve the other differences between them, and these are the symbol. You should learn them, and you should draw them again and again to practice them, because these kinds of pushing are only as you would interview. So how these are different. Like if you talk about why the third angle projection is right always, and plus the angle projection is opposite. Here you can see the basic difference. If we have a plane, we have a wood object, and this is the you would bring that friend to be O. You can see the left view, that is the is make the projection of right view here. But in case of an angle projection, the person is viewing the right side of it is made on the right side. That is the reason of angle projection is right in every way. So first standard projects in put it in a prickly types of dimensional. On the left side you can see the types of dimensions in the lined unidirectional, Jane Battler combine, and etc. On the right side you can see the line dimension and next November example. Actually the dimensions are very important part. It is very necessary to learn how big can be presented in mentioning it now. Good basal, then it looks good and impressive or informative. Here you can see the line the mentioning and how it's different from unidirectional. This aligned messaging is aligned according to the dimensions staked as the language vertical audibly. But in unique direction you will find every dimension in a single direction, like all the dimensions. That is what is on codex. The next you can see the gender mentioning it is going to lend and the better dimension. This is like an act, like in a parallel B. The combination of both is known as combined mentioning. This is known as progress, the progressive dimensions in which we are using origin. It's a very impressive method of coordinated mentioning in which we present all the things in this table. Plus we have to choose our origin, and all the measurements are taken from Darkwoods, and the similar method is the coordinate dimension. In again, when we are picking dark origin and all the dimension as measured from dark what is, and so these Both are very similar, but they both have their different applications. Like it, you can see it become a mess. So this is a good method of representation. Like you, we have a small sheet and you have a lot of things to represent. So this is the best method by which you can be pretending, so you can see that it will be standard. Mentioning in which we pretend this all the distance that is similar. So we do present in dark debate. We can also be present in dark made in case all this dimension is large in number. This is also a matter of representation of the center line. You can see here which is mean that is an equal in all directions is also similar in types of tolerances. Basically we have three kinds of tolerances limited by liquid. Any unilateral single limit tolerances very less than use but it has a very specific use. I will go on to tell the Baltic. In the limited lens we have two demands, and one is a button, one is good and really present and dogmatic and bilateral. We also have the upper and lower. It is the same in positive and negative directions. So really presenting them in Dutch debate in unilateral, again we have two bad actions. One is positive. One is negative, but their magnitude is different. So we represent unilateral inductive the single limit dominance in that we have only a single upside dimension, and these days of tolerance system is very clear in fact. So we will discuss them in detail in our specialized drafting. So let's talk about the fixed. Basically we have three kinds of things. One is interference effect, which the shaft side is more than all sides in the clearance effect, in which the world size is more than upside, but in the transition fit the shaft size is nearly compatible to all sides in the transition. Again we have three types, and as I told you we will discuss them in detail in a specialized drafting course, and it's a very necessary topic, very important in the case of making parts. This is the shaft system, how we use the clearance interference, and does this in fact bicycle in the shaft system. We are using case X Donovans. I will talk about them in a special court, but here you can see the difference between the as it or do for the glare district the size, and plus or the interference speed the size, and nectar. But the transition for the size and completely equal. So let's talk about the geometric dimensions and volumes. Here you can see that we have the frame in which we have this positioning symbol. This is a tolerance for position and CAB. Are there complaints that are respectively taken from over here and here, so that frame means the position of that circle? That particular cellular area should be tolerances rendered to 0.02, not more than that. From respective these darkened planes, that mean there is another part and it is going to be in certain died. There should be a great place so that the upcoming parts should be made that correctly spaced, so we should also discuss them in detail and a specialized schools of grafting. You can see the features of the frame, but we have dark geometric right a stick, like here you can see the positioning symbol. Sometime we need diameter in case of water. Then the value, then we have modifier here. These are the brain. We scan the industry dark complaint. These are them material modifier. There is a need of a lot of detail. You need to know about them. We were discussing over, especially towards these are the DEA types, somewhat on the visual forms. So the NAACP said clarity, flatness, deafness. There is another form bears like consent to city position symmetry or is orientation bizarre insularity perpendicular clarity and parallelism. These are on the basis of profile. These are based on the note as I told you about the dialogue. It is used in all these kinds of checking purposes of these kinds of GD&T. These are the newly added symbol but are more widely used in the industry that we will talk about them also. So here you can see this is the example of TNT that I will tell you something more about GNP. Like here you can see the singularity, that means that 0.06 tolerance is given there from dark perspective lane. That I don't blame here is a that mean that lane should be taking the reference by measuring dot and let it D system. Similarly here you can see the banner which is again is taken as .com. Leon is taken as a reference. Similarly here is again taking as the reference, and the symbol here is the perpendicular entity. Here you can see the flatness symbol and value normal mode should not be more than 0.04. Again here you can see the bad letter parallelism from the .com plane B, that mean that set of space and dark space should be parallel, and if there is a tolerance not more than Europeans do it. So these kinds of accurate dimensions to be indicating part of the very necessity, because these as a blue the fit is very important. So these kinds of BB and amp, T is a part of fixed, so we've discussed them in the data and we're specialized in drafting quartz, and this subject is a very necessity for every mechanical design. So thanks everyone, we'll meet the next video.